Channel. Ever since the 2024 presidential election was over, the right wing tells themselves that everyone agrees with them now. Talk about over expectations. The Black Channel is live. Unapologetic, unadulterated, and absolutely uncompromising. Greetings, brothers and sisters from around the world, and welcome back to the home, the haven, the stronghold, the everlasting superfortress of intelligent black thought. We are the Black Media, and this is the Black Channel. And I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the voice of Black America, the Black Authority, broadcasting to you live from the only historically black college university of higher education and learning in the cosmos. You are, of course, welcome to join us. And join us you shall, because on tonight's program here, we have to do a little bit of housekeeping in this regard, to let some folks know that they need to be duly reminded here that, oh no, we ain't forgot about you. Of all the bad takes, of all the misnomers that you could possibly pull out of the result of the 2024 presidential election, the Democrats and the left wing, they made a bunch of horrific, horrendous miscalculations and misunderstanding. However, as I've been telling you all along here, over there on the right, they have been making a bunch of willful misinterpretation and willful overreaching. They are actually telling themselves, what I told you about here all along, they're telling themselves that, hey, the result of the 2024 election is proof that everybody likes white supremacy. What? Why, everybody admires us white supremacists. What? That's what they're all over there telling themselves on Fox News, Ben Shapiro, Daily Wire. That's what they're over there telling themselves. That's what they're over there saying. That everybody likes white supremacy. Why, they've always admired us. Why, they think that racism is great. That's what they're over there saying, that we all think that racism, Trump's election is proof that black people think racism's fine. Judge Janine on Fox News was saying that. Why, black people don't want the government to give them things. Why, they want to pull themselves up on their own. Pull themselves up on their own. Well, by definition, that means we've been knocked down. If we've been knocked down, I want to be put back on my standing position, and I need reparations for whoever knocked me down. Well, they got knocked down and they want to pull themselves up. You mean you think that we're telling you they like struggling against racism. Racism is okay because they like struggling against it. Why, they don't want anybody to stop racism. They want to struggle against it and overcome it on their own. Remember, I told you Jared Taylor said the exact same thing. He expressed those exact same sentiments in my documentary, Race War. Same thing. He sat up there and said that, and I'm like, well, see, they want white people to run things. Remember? They want white people to run things. So in other words, we're all fine with the status quo. We're all great with the status quo. Well, they don't really want you to do anything about it. That's what they are willfully lying to themselves and saying. They're willfully lying to themselves about that. They love the status quo. They enjoy the status quo, but they know that they can't really maintain it themselves. So, because they squeaked by another election, they squeaked by, and now they want to tell themselves a pleasing lie so they can sleep at night. So what do you tell yourself? Why, see, they love us. White folks, they love us being in control. They like that. That's what they're telling themselves. All the black folk out there, why, we like that. They deliberately ignored everything that they heard us say, because now they're trying to, just like the left-wingers did, they're trying to put out their own propaganda on the right. See, what they think they're going to do is be like, well, yeah, they acknowledge that Trump is racist, but they just write that off as, oh, well, he's wacky and we give him a pass. No, if you're telling yourself that, then you are grossly in error of what you saw. You heard what we said. We meant what we said. This was not support for Trump. The voting numbers were down since 2020. This was not support for Trump. This was a rejection of the Democrats. Now you want to sit up here and feed yourself and your base the lie. See, they love us white supremacists. They love it. And so here we go again, setting yourselves up over there on the right for failure. Setting yourselves up for failure. But you know what? We see y'all over there. We see you over there trying to do a victory lap. We see you over there waving the banner of white supremacy and making your little remarks. And all of a sudden, oh, you think you see another George Zimmerman with Daniel Penny, and we see it's emboldened you. Our boycott of the Democrats, you're now taking that as we like you. What? That's what they're telling themselves. That us rejecting the Democrats means that we like the right wingers and the white supremacists. See, we all knew you liked us. We knew you liked us over there. We knew it. And if you made that type of gross miscalculation, then you didn't actually believe us in what we said. But you know what? This is good. What? You see, in the game of rope-a-dope, when you bring in a sucker and you bring in a fool, the first thing that he does here is he tells himself that all the things that were a negative about him, he doesn't have to actually change anything. See, when he sits up here and grossly misinterprets the events because he willfully wants to lie to himself, so he makes up a fantasy that he doesn't have to actually change anything, that he was right all along, and that everyone loved his white supremacist ways, and they loved his brutality. They loved it. Why, they thought I was great. This is the self-fulfilling psycho fantasy that they tell themselves over there on the right in Fox News. That everyone actually secretly loves white supremacy, and if we just hold them off long enough, then eventually they'll knuckle under and go along to get along. Because you see, black people are actually conservative. They're more conservative than they are liberal. So you see, they'll give racism a pass as long as you focus on the economic issues.
Nigga, please.
That's what they're over there telling themselves in the white supremacist media now, that black people will give them a pass for racism and white supremacy because, well, if we like your economic policy, now, well, we'll ignore everything else. As long as the economic policy is a little bit better than it was the Democrats. Now, we're not going to give you reparations either, but as long as it's a little bit better than the Democrats, and we're gonna economically be racist against you like the Democrats too. But we might have a little bit of a bigger tax cut in there. That's what they're telling themselves. Now, we all love white supremacy and we all think it's great, and well, it's just a little bit of an irritant and a little bit of an annoyance and a little bit of an obstacle there, a little hindrance. But we'll go ahead and get that bypass. So what they're saying to themselves is that we're fed up with the Democrats, but that the right wingers that we've been giving the boots to for the last 5 decades, that all of a sudden we're okay with them. Let's be clear to understand what the numbers mean. The falling away from the Democrats is not a falling into the Republicans. The falling away from the Democrats does not mean we are falling into the Republicans. By the way, on Zoom, Phyllis Speaks needs to be on my Zoom here in 2 minutes. So you got 2 minutes to be on Zoom, sir. And then you can go ahead and ask those questions directly. You have 2 minutes to be on there. So glad you have so much to say. We will definitely make sure that we get you front and center for that. So the big mistake that they're making here is that they want to believe that if they just stay still long enough, then they're going to be able to get us all to just surrender and finally give up and, oh, well, all right, well, white supremacy is just dead, let's try to improve our position within it. No, that's never been in the cards. See, they think that we're unafraid to call the Democrats bluff. They're deliberately lying to themselves. Now, you weren't calling the Democrats bluff. You really like us over here on the racist right. You really like us over here. No. Well, how can that be? If you let the Democrats lose, and if you actually helped them to lose, well, what are you looking to gain if you don't want to join our gang? We've chosen ourselves. We're not joining either gang. There's the problem that they have is that, by the way, hey, Trump, did you forget what happened to you in 2020? Oh, you didn't? Oh, apparently your flunkies did. So now they're running around telling themselves that we all love white supremacy now. Which, of course, is a catastrophic lie to say to yourself, but it makes them feel better. It makes them feel like they got a green light, that even though the country is less white than it's been in recent decades, that we're all back in white supremacy now. That we're all like, you know what? I mean, Trump may be racist, but you know what? We'll tolerate that right there if I can get me a little tax cut. As if you lying, duplicitous, scum-sucking white supremacist bastards could buy us off with a penny-any-ass tax cut.
Boy, what in the hell's the matter with you?
As if we're out here looking for a tax cut. As if we rose up Malcolm X and Martin Luther King and Fred Hampton and Huey Newton and Louis Farrakhan, as if we raised them up because our goal was a tax cut. You realize how psychotic these white supremacists are, how delusional they are, as if that's the goal we've been working for. Well, we will abandon black empowerment if we can get our tax rate down below 20%. Do you realize how buck-faced stupid you have to be to sit up there and say something like that, as if that's what we've been stomping for, as if that's what we dropped the Democrats for this year, that was all we wanted. We did all this work for a tax break. Well, black folk agree with us on social issues. The biggest social issue is white supremacy. White supremacy is the biggest social issue. Not abortion, not Ukraine, not Israel, not illegal aliens. White supremacy is the biggest social issue. Black empowerment is the biggest goal, and white supremacy is the biggest social issue. And this idea that, well, under Trump, I was able to keep a few $1,000s more in my taxes right there. So, I guess I leave white supremacy alone. You know what kind of crazy you got to be? Talk about delusional in deliberately misreading the results of an election because you trying to tell yourself the bill's not actually coming due. The best you can interpret this as, white supremacists, is a stay of execution. That's the most you can interpret it as. But the idea that all of a sudden we buddy with you and we trying to figure out how we gonna get along, do you realize delusional jackasses like Ben Shapiro and the rest of those white supremacist clowns over there, white supremacist scum like Ben Shapiro, telling themselves that black folk are becoming more Republican? What? That's literally what they're over there saying. That we're becoming more conservative and more Republican. And it's like, dude, I don't know what kind of fentanyl or what type of meth you're hiding up under that yarmulke, but you need to stop using it. Whatever you got up under there, stop it. It's making you talk stupid. More stupid than you usually are. We said what we were doing it for. We said what our goal was. We said what the mission statement was. We said what we accepted the outcome would be. And we show the Democrats we will put it on your ass and we will allow you to crash and burn. And of course, the right-wing racists, opposite from the left-wing racists, of course, the right-wing racists interpreted that as, oh, they like us. Of course they delusionally twisted this in their own heads to something else. Of course they did. Of course they did. Of course they would say that. Because they don't want to have to face the reality there. Just understand something. If they had lost this election in the Republican Party as we know it, that would be the end of them. That would have been the end of them. They would simply be a party that would be going into perpetual decline, and they know it. So they're thrilled because they think they got a second lease on life. And rather than accept the lessons to be learned, which is, by the way, we better demonstrate to black people that we are a better option. Instead of demonstrating that, because that's the lesson you're supposed to be learning, what they're saying is, we don't have to do anything for black folk neither. They're just happy that to go along with our tax policy. They like that. So in other words, you're showing that you didn't learn the lesson either. You didn't learn the lesson either. You were told you're going to have to pony up something if you want our vote. That's what you heard from the Democrats, and you figured that we'd say, okay, well, forget the Democrats. Let's go ahead and suffer under the Republicans because you're getting your benefits over there in racist white land. And you're like, well, black folk they decided to just go ahead and finally surrender and just say, okay, we'll get in our place over here. So that brings you to cases like Daniel Penny. Daniel Penny, that case there, you're seeing all the George Zimmerman white supremacists, including the non-black ones. You're seeing them whatnot. They're showing you that they think they got them another George Zimmerman case here. A mentally ill young man on a subway in New York. We covered that. He didn't harm anybody. He was certainly flailing and acting wildly, but he hadn't harmed anybody. And of course, what you do with a mentally disturbed person is sneak up on them and choke them to death. Now, if this had been a Jewish person, you wouldn't see the Ben Shapiros and the Daily Wires and their Jewish publishers. You wouldn't be seeing them say that that's the way that you deal with a mentally ill Jewish person. You wouldn't be hearing Fox News if it was a black man who strangled a white man to death on the subway. You wouldn't be hearing them say that that's the way you do that. Ashley Babbitt was a white woman, an insurrectionist who was kicking in the doors at the Capitol building in an act of high treason, in an act of open insurrection, which the Constitution is very clear about insurrectionism. Ashley Babbitt was an insurrectionist. And they, all of a sudden, it went from back the blue to hell with the Capitol Police. Oh, wait a minute. It was a white man. I mean, it was a black man who did that. All of a sudden, that was the issue. All of a sudden, when do they stop back in the blue? Oh, if it's a black person, if it is a black police officer who exercises judgment over a white person, now all of a sudden we find out back the blue means back the white. The Ashley Babbitt case is like, well, I'll be damned. So that was okay to do? What they're saying is that no, she could get killed, but it can't be no black person. Do it. The idea that a black man can kill an unarmed white woman with impunity. There's the issue. What they're letting you know is that all of these geeky noodle neck clowns out here who are congenital cowards, the Ben Shapiros, the Tucker Carlsons, who if you walked up on them, walked up behind them in a hallway, they would soil their pants in fear if you tapped them on the shoulder and said, hey, I heard what you said online. They would soil their pants and be quivering. Sean Hannity years ago was literally running from people who wanted to ask him questions. He was literally running. Surprised he didn't have a cardiac event. These are cowards. That's why their voices are all high and squeaky and squirrely. Nature is letting you know, can't you see there's a problem? Yes. Noodle neck spineless cowards. That's who they are. What they try to do is buck up other people to do their dirty work. None of them have ever been engaged in fighting for it for themselves. So they go off trying to buck up other people to do their dirty work for them. The Jared Taylors and the Ben Shapiros and the Tucker Carlsons, they sit in their houses, they sit behind their computers, they sit behind their microphones. They ain't frontline, and they never will be. Not now, not ever. So they'll go off and defend other people and go off and encourage other people. But they don't do that themselves. That's what cowards do. And the reason for that is because the goal is white supremacy. But you all I need to remind you about what white supremacy's goal is. White supremacy's goal is complete unfettered dominance. So the law is symbolic. The law is symbolic. White supremacy is the law. And occasionally there'll be a dust up, like doing with the mafia. Every once in a while there's a dust up. Every once in a while somebody might get killed in white society. But at the end of the day, they have a common interest in preserving the system. There may be conflicts within the system, but at the end of the day, their goal is to preserve the system. The goal is complete and total supremacy and dominance. But you cannot claim to be supreme if you cannot break every law. That's the difference. They have absolutely no interest in equality. That's why every time they hear equality, DEI, when you say equal, their visceral reaction to hearing that word equal, wait a minute, we don't want to be equal. We want to be supreme. So every time you bring in the word equal, every time you say everyone has to compete on an equal playing field, they immediately snap to attention. Oh, no. No, get all that out of here. Well, the table is lopsided, and right now it's not competitive because you're cheating every breath you take every day. So what we're going to do is balance this playing field, and now if you're the best, you'll win then. No, leave it like it is. Stop trying to level this thing. Leave it just like it is. But it's not equal. It's good. You need to keep working till you get equal. But you've rigged it so that doesn't happen. Well, just work harder. Their goal is not equality. The goal has never been equality. Those of you who watched my documentary Race War, you heard Richard Spencer sit there and tell you, I don't believe in fairness. I'm not interested in fairness nor equality. I'm interested in power. Ben Noodleneck Shapiro. Take a look at him. There's a guy, if there's a case study of an unempowered individual desperate to overcompensate for his obvious lack of masculinity, manhood, or anything else, you've never heard a male out there who weighs more than 85 pounds soaking wet tell you that they wish they could be like Ben Shapiro when they grow up. You don't hear anybody say they wish they could be like him. There isn't anything about him that they want to be like. He wants to be white when convenient and Jewish when it serves him. The real problem is, by the way, he's got another thought coming on that. I already explained that to you all there before because he forgot what folks were saying before the election. So don't worry, that train's going to come back around. But you cannot claim to be supreme if you cannot break every law. So this is the reason why when they see a white man sneak up on a black person and kill them, in the case of Jonathan Majors, when they see a white woman lying and saying that she was assaulted, and then the court system goes right, oh, yep, her chasing you down the street, that's proof she was assaulted. There it is. Well, that's white supremacy. The first law that they have to break is the law of truth. And that's the first law they have to break. We have incontrovertible evidence of what the truth is. We're white, we say so. That's the truth. The only truth that matters is we're white and we say so. You notice you find that on the so-called left and the right. The law is whatever they say it is. Now that's white supremacy. Well, then you sit up here and open up your law books and show them, hey, wait a minute, this is what the law clearly says here. Now the law is whatever we say it is. Whatever we say it is, whenever we say it is, that's what the law is today. Remember the other white supremacist, Judge Schrader, in the case of Kyle Rittenhouse. That guy was so overwhelmingly white supremacist. He sat right there in the courtroom and said, your interpretation of the law, I am the one who interprets the law. The law is whatever I say it is. It isn't what you look up or what you think it is. I'm the one who interprets the law. Did you see your news outlets? Now, you saw them sitting up here stalking Donald Trump and everything else. And yet Judge Schrader did this. They didn't bring out their legal eagles at CNN. They didn't bring them out at MSNBC. They should have been camped outside that damn courtroom. Now, when you had those judges who ruled that these white men who were raping white women, that it was okay to let them off and give them a slap on the wrist and give them probation and let them go, while they rose up and got them up out of there. They rose up and got them up out of here. Here comes the media. They're camped outside the courtroom. And next thing you know, oh, here comes the Supreme Court of the state. Oh, you got to go. You have a black judge who disciplines an unruly black child in his courtroom. Here comes the same people again. Well, I'll be damned. they can take action then. But when it comes to white supremacists and suspected white supremacists, all of a sudden, whether it's Cliven Bundy or anybody else, all of a sudden the courtroom and the media all get on code and all move in lockstep with each other. The law is whatever we say it is. And that's what they took away from the 2024 election of Donald Trump. That's what they tell themselves. So this brings you back here. And like I say, I've been keeping up to date on this. From the I'm White and I Say So files. This story here from the New York Post about Daniel Penny. I mean, they what they basically are saying is we want to one up George Zimmerman. We want to George Zimmerman hold our beer. Basically it. Headline: Jordan Neely's cause of death wasn't Daniel Penny chokehold, but quote, combined effects of drugs, struggle, and schizophrenia. Defense expert. Struggle? What struggle are you referring to? Are you referring to this struggle here? Is this the struggle that you're referring to? That doesn't look like a struggle. That looks like a murder and execution. That's what it looks like to me. A struggle? What happened to chokehold? That's not a struggle. That's a chokehold. But their so-called defense expert, we'll come back to him in just a moment, said that he's deliberately using different words. And when you get his background, it's like, oh, well, that makes sense. Daniel Penny's chokehold to Jordan Neely wasn't what killed the homeless man. He died from the, quote, combined effects of synthetic marijuana, schizophrenia, and other factors, the defense's medical expert testified Thursday. Dr. Satish Chundra, a forensic pathologist based in Texas, told jurors in Manhattan. What? Yeah, a forensic pathologist based in Texas told jurors in Manhattan that Neely's autopsy records and video of the fatal F-train altercation in May 2023 didn't show signs typical of known chokehold deaths. What? Now, what he's telling you is that what you see on this screen with your eyes doesn't matter. This isn't a chokehold killing. No, the chokehold you see him in, that's got nothing to do with why he died. Nothing. Nothing at all. They literally went down into Texas. The white supremacists got together and bankrolled some quack out of Texas to come and tell you that what you see on your screen, this has nothing to do with why Jordan Neely suffocated to death. Nothing at all. He's literally telling you that. It ain't got nothing to do with it. Jason, you overstating it. Hello, from the trial itself. In your opinion, did Mr. Penny choke Mr. Neely to death? Penny's attorney, Stephen Reiser, said. No, replied Chundru. The chokehold did not cause death. No, the chokehold did not cause death. He's sitting there in a courtroom of law under oath with his so-called medical credentials and telling you that what you all just saw, that wasn't what killed him. So he just dropped dead. And it's just coincidental that Daniel Penny was choking the life out of him when he dropped dead. I'm white, and I say so. Or in this guy's case, I want to be white, and I say so. Chundru, who said he has worked as a medical examiner for county governments in Florida. What? And Texas. Damn. Okay, one of the usual suspects. One of the usual suspects. He's worked as a medical examiner for county governments in Florida and Texas. Ruled out 2 medically recognized chokeholds, the air choke and the blood choke, because he believed that Neely, 30, died from other causes. He also pointed out what he said were discrepancies in Neely's medical records, specifically bruising on the homeless man's neck, and how there was, quote, almost negligible petechia, tiny spots of bleeding found on his eyelids that Chundru claimed were inconsistent with a fatal chokehold. Instead, Chundru, who dubs himself the forensic doc on his website,
nigga, please,
said that Neely died by the, quote, combined effects of sickle cell crisis. Notice he didn't say sickle cell anemia. Notice he didn't say that. The combined effects of sickle cell crisis, the schizophrenia. I know y'all are like, what? Died from schizophrenia? So he died from the combined effects of sickle cell crisis, schizophrenia, the struggle, you mean the chokehold, and restraint, and the synthetic marijuana. Chundru claimed that schizophrenia carries a, quote, increased risk of sudden cardiac death. Y'all thought Dr. Anthony Fauci was the biggest, most shameless quack that you could possibly put on a medical stand somewhere. You all thought that he was the worst. This fella Chundru is like, Anthony, hold my beer. Oh, matter of fact, hold this case of beer. He's literally telling people that schizophrenia carries an increased risk of sudden cardiac arrest. In other words, that you drop dead. Schizophrenia alone. Now, if this is the first time that any of you have heard of that, there's a reason. There's a reason. He also testified that he'd seen deaths caused by K2 toxicity alone. Neely, a former Michael Jackson impersonator with a history of mental illness and drug abuse, had the synthetic marijuana in his system at the time of his death. Trial evidence is shown. The findings from Chundru, who was called by Penny's defense attorneys, were far different from those of the city medical examiner, who stood by her ruling that Neely's death was caused by asphyxiation as a result of the former Marine's chokehold. They keep going throwing there, he's a Marine. But by the way, as a Marine, his superior officers told him not to use those kind of holds, by the way. Dr. Cynthia Harris, who performed the autopsy, said video of the fatal encounter convincingly showed the chokehold was his cause of death, that she wouldn't change her ruling even if it turned out Neely had enough drugs in his body, quote, to put down an elephant. To put down an elephant is a cliche. That's not a medical measurement. Nobody measures enough drugs to put down an elephant. That's a cliche. If you ingested enough drugs to put down an elephant, you never would have made it out of the dope den that you were in. Let's stop sitting up here with hyperbole and exaggeration. That's a slogan. That's a metaphor. That's not a literal measurement. That's not enough to put down an elephant is not a numerical measurement. That's a cliche. Harris testified earlier this week that she and the other doctors in the office of the medical examiner, including the chief, believe that Neely's death was caused by asphyxia consistent with being choked. After seeing a journalist video of the homeless man dying with Penny's arm wrapped around his neck, they're like, hey, we got the video. Hey, the man's dead. Hey, it's case closed. White on white, not say so. Just because you saw it happen on video, that doesn't mean you've seen everything. How many years do we hear that starting in the Obama administration? Barack Obama's administration is the one that kicked that off, and by the way, has defended it because Eric Holder refused to go and indict any of these killers. Daniel Pantaleo, George Zimmerman, and the rest of them. Eric Garner refused to indict them. So do not forget where this started. Telling you that it doesn't matter what you saw on video. Why, what you see on the video, that's not everything. The video doesn't show you everything. So even if I'm sitting there watching it, I didn't see everything. No! What am I missing? You're missing my interpretation of what you see on the video. So what you say carries more weight than what I saw occur. Yes! Chundru was pressed Thursday by Manhattan Assistant District Attorney Daphne Yorna about his claim regarding the petechia on Neely's eyelids, and eventually conceded that other medical professionals, including his mentor, did find that such symptoms were consistent with death by asphyxiation. What? I know this hurt the New York Post's soul to have to post this. I know it hurt their soul to have to include that, oh yeah, by the way, y'all made this headline up here, but buried down here in the article, the assistant district attorney got him to admit, oh yeah, by the way, even his mentor, the medical examiner they brought all the way up from Texas to New York, even his mentor said that, oh yeah, by the way, the symptoms that I say are not consistent with it. Actually, even my mentor says the symptoms are, that is consistent with death by asphyxiation. Yeah, that is consistent. But don't believe your video. Don't believe your lying eyes. Don't believe my mentor. Don't believe what you saw. Ignore the rest of the world. Listen just to me. And let Mr. Blonde Hair, Blue Eyes, murdering and killing, let him go. Ignore everything else and everybody else and listen just to me. Folks, this is how far along it's gotten. The prosecutor also grilled Chundru about whether the darker color of Neely's face compared to his arms proved that blood wasn't flowing to his head because his arteries and veins were being blocked as a result of the chokehold. So you all can see the difference between the color of his face and the color of his arms. So she did her job in pointing these things out. You can see the difference between the color of his face and the color of his arms. And she's like, well, isn't this obvious proof that blood was being restricted? Yoren pointed to the bystander video where Neely's face is darker than the rest of his skin and as veins protrude from his forehead, and asked Chundru what he made of that. Quote, one suggestion is that he has some blockage. Another suggestion is that he has a suntan. What? People, this was really said in a court of law on the stand. When asked what constitutes the difference between the color of his face and the color of his arms in the video, well, I mean, one suggestion is that he has some blockage. Blockage, you mean this chokehold on his neck, this blocking blood flow? You mean that blockage? Y'all notice he keeps doing this white supremacist crazy talk? Double speak. Oh, this isn't a chokehold. This is struggle. So in other words, he got together with the lawyers. Ooh, don't use the word chokehold. Say some other word. Don't say chokehold. Say something else. So you all have gotten this ass quack up here who is just being a professional paid liar. And who in the hell would you want to bring to get any sort of reliable medical diagnosis or forensic diagnosis on what happened after seeing this absolutely Looney Tunes display on the stand? He says that, well, you know, he could have got a suntan. people, a suntan in New York City on the subway? We're talking about New York City on the subway. On the subway in New York City, a Michael Jackson impersonator, because we all know that Michael Jackson was world renowned for his dark skin. And this guy is literally telling you that someone in a New York, not a Louisiana subway, if we had subways, which we don't, but not a Louisiana subway, not a Texas, in a New York subway. A person in a New York subway, well, you know he could have had a tan. And the New York Post is so ashamed that they put this out here. Well, another suggestion is that he has a suntan, Chundru said, before eventually agreeing with the prosecutor. So in other words, she pushed back on that, and then he had to say, yeah, I mean, I can't with no suntan. Right? How do you get to keep your medical credentials after you say something so absolutely spurious? Look it up. Anybody in New York City knows that doesn't happen. They got too many skyscrapers to suntan. Unless you have an apartment on the rooftop of a building, anybody who's been in New York City, and I have many times, they got too many damn skyscrapers around there for that. You can't suntan at Central Park. You literally have to wait until the sun is in a specific area in the sky before you can get any sunlight in New York City. There's skyscrapers everywhere. The sun is blocked everywhere. That's why it's so damn loud. Every time the people are hitting their horns in their cars, the taxis honking their horns, it reverberates and echoes everywhere because it's one giant concrete steel echo chamber. Everywhere you can hear horns honking from blocks away. This is an insult to the intelligence of anybody who has visited New York City, much less lived in New York City. Suntanning in New York, this is a damn insult. Unless you're standing down there on Hudson Parkway. And not even standing. You gotta get all the way out there by the water. Yeah, I know. Everywhere else, there's a big giant concrete wall that's blocking the sun. I'm talking about from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. You just got to catch some sunlight where you can. Talking about a suntan. They should have been embarrassed to put this quack up there. This was the best you got? And don't look for any of the Fox News, Charlie Kirk, white supremacist clowns to go through what I'm showing you all right now, which is why you need to see this. So anybody tries to argue against this, by the way, yeah, he admitted on the stand that he agreed with he had to be worn down by the prosecutor to admit, oh yeah, it wasn't no tan actually. He wound up ultimately having to agree with her that yeah, that ain't it. Closing arguments in the trial are expected for December 2nd, so they're going to wait till after Thanksgiving. Several eyewitnesses testified that Neely, who was unmarried, was threatening passengers, but had not touched anyone before Penny snuck up behind him and choked him to death. Before Penny walked up, he waited, because as cowards do, and ran up behind him. He didn't touch anybody before Penny, in a brazen act of cowardice, which is why the Marines need to stop him from identifying as a Marine. If they want to have any credibility, they need to file an injunction to get him to stop identifying as a Marine, because right now Marine and coward are going to become synonymous if you keep allowing them to refer to him that way. He snuck up behind him. He had not touched Neely had not touched anybody. Penny snuck up behind him. And if you say it like that, then all of a sudden you realize, oh hell, there's nothing. How in the world do you defend this craven, cowardly piece of filth? Penny's lawyers said he acted to protect other people on the subway. While he was jumping in to protect other people, you can't say he was protecting himself because do y'all understand this article? His lawyers, they go to great pains not to use the word chokehold, not to use the word strangle, even though that's exactly what you saw happen on the video. Now, he can't claim self-defense. You can't claim self-defense if you sneak up behind somebody and choke them to death. You can't claim I was trying to protect other people. Well, yes, I snuck up behind him and put him in a chokehold to protect the rest of you. Prosecutors say Penny knew his actions could be deadly and continued them anyway. Penny is charged with second-degree manslaughter and criminally negligent homicide. He faces up to 15 years in prison if convicted on the top charge. And convicted he should be, because that is what he is. He's a suspected white supremacist killer who saw what he saw as an opening, an opportunity to ambush someone. Jordan Neely at most was in need of help. He obviously had mental issues, but he had not harmed anybody. And to try to escalate that beyond that, I need to see consistency. The same folk talking about, this is crazy that you want to sit up here and try Daniel Penny for this. Those are the same folk talking about, why is it we didn't indict Officer Byrd for shooting Ashley Babbitt, even though she stormed the Capitol building and was told to stop and she would not comply. Ashley Babbitt refused to comply, and the same people who defended police murdering unarmed black people, all of those are the exact same people saying it doesn't matter if she didn't comply. Well, interesting. The same people who have never said a word to defend Breonna Taylor, all of a sudden it doesn't matter if you didn't comply. Well, I'll be damned. That's what you all told us. If Ashley Babbitt had just complied, why, she'd still be here. It's her own fault. Back the blue. Back the badge. She should have just complied. That's what she gets for being so uppity. Why, you should just follow the officer's instructions and you wouldn't have got gunned down. And yet the folk who were saying that to us, all of a sudden they busted a 180. They didn't hit a U-turn, they hit a G-turn. What? For those of you who've seen the electric G-Wagon, they hit a whole G-turn. Wait a minute, what happened to just comply? Oh, when it's a white person being confronted by a black representative of the law, compliance is not necessary. Isn't that right, Officer Muhammad Noor? Compliance is not necessary when it is a white person being confronted by a black representative of the law. Compliance is no longer required. Not at all. That's why I bring that up in the system of white supremacy, to make sure that you are reminded and kept abreast of this. If you go on Twitter, you can find a never-ending stream of white supremacists and suspected white supremacists who have been sitting out there carrying the water on that. I went digging back through the crates. I went digging back through the archives. Found no less than Donald Trump's nominee for defense secretary, who ain't gonna make it, but Pete Hegseth. Why, last year, he said that Daniel Penny is an American hero. He wasn't trying to kill anyone. Neither was Jordan Neely. So Pete Hegseth, who has long been accused of being a white supremacist, long accused of that, way before now. Well, Pete Hegseth all of a sudden, well, oh, if Daniel Penny's an American hero, well, you know what? If Daniel Penny's an American hero, then those women who said you raped them are American heroines. What? I don't mean the drug. By the way, Pete, keep that energy. Don't let it go. Keep that energy, Pete. Since the court system is all right and we don't need to listen to reality, just believe whatever the hell you say, why don't we just go ahead and believe what those women have said about you? Why don't we just go with that? Keep that energy because, by the way, Pete, you paid that woman off. What? Oh, yeah, by the way, y'all, Pete doesn't want this to become a nomination fight because Pete paid that woman. Oh, Pete, this is the worst thing ever, dude. Your dirty laundry is about to get put out here on the rooftop blowing through the breeze. You paid that woman who said you raped her. Yeah, you're so innocent. Well, they didn't put him on trial. Well, yeah, because he paid her off. After he paid her, she didn't cooperate anymore. That's the part that he doesn't want us to keep repeating. By the way, you didn't prove yourself innocent and you didn't get the police to drop the charges. You paid that woman. I want y'all to understand, I don't know what in the hell Trump was thinking getting Gates and Hegseth. But by the way, oh yeah, Petey, when the details about this start coming out, it's going to make Clarence Thomas look like Mr. Rogers. Damn! When they start going inch by inch, and boy, if they drag old girl up there in front of the Senate, oh, if they drag her up there to give all the details, because for those of you who didn't know the details of it, she talked about how many tattoos he had, what his tattoos. She said that he was wearing his dog tags when he did it. What? Y'all, it was wild. It was wild. She said he was wearing his dog tags. He was doing the most. He does not want this going in front of the Senate. It just seems like a good idea, Pete. See, in the white supremacist and suspected white supremacist psyche, he thinks that's a Chad move right there. Pete thinks that's a Chad move. He thinks all the women in America, he thinks he's doing some 50 Shades of Grey stuff there. He thinks that's a 50 Shades of Grey move. He thinks every bored housewife and girlfriend in America, he thinks all of them would love to sit up here and get wrangled and tied up. And he got his dog tags on. And he's doing the Hulk Hogan, Hulkamaniacs thing. That's what he tells himself. Well, they all love it. Sound familiar? Well, they love it when we abuse them and exercise power. They love it when we do that. So yeah, y'all, like I say, Pete ain't ready for this. He is not ready for that ball to get rolling. He doesn't want that to happen. He really doesn't. He'll be sitting up there smiling and grinning. Yeah, sometimes it gets thick out there. He's sitting there telling himself he's Patrick Bateman. And by the way, Pete, you better double think that one. Better rethink that one. But yeah, that's what he'll be thinking. Well, the ladies love it. They love a macho man. Pete, were you wearing your combat boots too? What? Oh, y'all, can you imagine that sight? Oh, can you imagine that sight? He's sitting there giving Fox News promos. He's got on his combat boots and his dog tags and... Live at 5, this is Pete Hegseth, broadcasting live from your hotel room. They think that anything they do is cool. They think anything they do is okay. They think that the rules can be whatever they want it to be on whatever day they want it to be, and then they can flip-flop and turn 180 degrees in the very next minute if they want it to be. The beauty of when we talk about white privilege is the ability to be immune from reality. The reason why they value white supremacy so much is that white supremacy is the privilege to be immune from reality, immune from the laws of physics, immune from rationality. You don't have to actually deal with any of that. That's for them other folks. But for you, you got amnesty from white supremacy, from reality. That's what it means to have that. That's what it means. Oh, trust me, Candace Owens would have loved to grip them damn dog tags. Damn! Don't let nobody fool you there. Matter of fact, who knows? She probably already did.
And deal with it.
Only you never know. Candace Owens might have knowing Candace Owens, she's already done her tour of duty. Why else do you think they keep them Condoleezza Rices and them gals around? Knowing Candace, she's probably already done her tour of duty. Is there a suspected white supremacist on the right who ain't seen that naked? You can put good money on that. Oh, you can put good money on that. Everybody got to make her sign an NDA because it's like, oh, hell no. Don't really want her blabbing about it. You know her. You seen what she done did. Any black woman hanging out with Ben Shapiro, that tells you everything you need to know right there. Oprah Winfrey, Candace Owens. If you're a black woman hanging out with Ben Shapiro, that's all I need to hear. Don't tell me what you ain't did. And you going at Ben a little bit too hard, Candace. You going to him a little bit too hard. Why don't you just admit the truth? Ben got you to convert. Why don't you go ahead and you going at Ben Shapiro a little bit too hard. Now you upset. He say, okay, you got to, Candace, you have to sign this NDA. I can't just say, you know, you can't talk about any of that right there. She wants to talk about how bad in bed he was or whatever. Candace, you can't talk about that. Candace Owens, you can't speak about that right there. We have that. My lawyer's got ya. So yeah, this is what they're used to. They're used to telling themselves that whatever they do is right and that everybody's with it. And everybody's just going to go along with it. Then I'm showing you, by the way, it's going to blow up in their faces. And this is good. I want them to overestimate this. I want them to miscalculate this. I want them to tell themselves that everybody loves them and everything's great and everything's fine. I want them to tell themselves that they've won. I want them to lull themselves into a sense of security. I want them to tell themselves why people love white supremacy. Matter of fact, they prefer you to be right there. I want you to be as hyper delusional as possible. I want you to tell yourself that J.D. Vance is going to be more popular than Donald Trump. What? That's what I want you to tell yourselves. I want you to tell yourselves that J.D. Vance, black people like J.D. Vance more than Gavin Newsom. That's what I want you to tell yourselves. Better yet, tell yourselves that we really like Ron DeSantis more than we do Gavin Newsom or J.D. Vance. Tell yourselves that one. Tell yourselves that you've got a roster of suspected white supremacists and open white supremacists waiting in the wings and that black folk just can't wait to throw our support behind them. That while we didn't have any real problem with Ron DeSantis just because he wants to deny slavery, simply because Ron DeSantis is trying to erase slavery from the history books, why, we don't think anything of that. Tell yourselves that. Michael Bloomberg told himself the same thing. How did that go for him? Hillary Clinton told herself the same thing. How did that go for her? Nikki Haley told herself the same thing. How did that turn out for her? Kamala Harris told herself the same lie. How did that turn out for her? Or have you forgotten that 8 years ago, we dumped Hillary Clinton and let Trump get to the White House? 4 years after that, we dumped Trump and let Biden go to the White House. 4 years after that, we gave Biden and Harris the heave-ho. No offense, Kamala. And Trump is back in the White House. So this idea that somehow we've got some allegiance to you, somehow we got some allegiance to you. No, you might want to tell they're always looking to tell themselves the country really likes us without confronting what the issue is. Now, here's what you white supremacists, suspected white supremacists, and you other folk there, here's what you would do if you were smart, which you aren't. But if you were intelligent, here's what you do. What you would do is recognize that you have been given nothing but a stay of execution. You would then make a move like Lyndon Johnson did with the Civil Rights Act. You would acknowledge that, yeah, you're going to lose some white supremacist folks somewhere. But you would now make a move that would splinter the black vote from the Democrats for good and make the Republicans a viable option going forward by grabbing on to one of those issues, cash payments, the Freedmen's Bank, a black hate crime bill. If you were intelligent, you would use this as your opportunity to do that. And you would make a big show of it. You would make a big show of it. You'd put it front and center. You wouldn't call Charlemagne the fraud. You wouldn't call Al Sharpton. You wouldn't call Joy Screed. You'd call some black folk with some real credibility, and you would be making, you'd have Ice Cube up there. We got other folk out here, and you would have a public thing where you put that out in the open and say that we are the Republican, that the party of Lincoln is going to finish the unfinished work of the abolition of slavery because the work is not finished. And that it will not be the Democrats or Kamala Harris. We're freezing them out. We are going to set the tone. We're going to set the rules. We're going to lead the discussion. If they did that, with a 4-year runway in front of them, the Democrats would be flipping out all kinds of crazy. There's all kinds of bad will against them. The best they could do is try to copycat, and that's not going to work. They got a huge headwind. They're going to come bounce Roland Martin out there. Y'all need to listen to me. Y'all can't believe them Republicans. Give me some money. Listen to me. That's what you would do if you were smart, is you would seize this opportunity instead of telling yourself the clown car delusion that all we want is the status quo. We don't want the Republican status quo any more than we want the Democrat status quo. If you were smart, you would overturn it altogether. It would be a small investment. It would be a minuscule investment in the establishment of a permanent conservative Republican majority. You'd never have to worry about the black vote again, and the Democrats would simply wither on the vine until ultimately they would just be this weird, wacky party of sexual deviants and drug addicts hanging out in California and New York. You'd basically have them isolated to the islands of California and New York. And everywhere else, they would just wither on the vine. Now, that's what they would do if they were smart. They would accept it. Hey, we got lucky in this election. We squeaked by. What are we going to give black people to make sure that they don't regress? What do we do to make sure that in 2028 they don't elect a Democrat who's going to undo everything we're trying to do right now? What then? Now that's if they were smart, which they aren't. They're telling themselves that that everybody who's not white in America wants a white majority in power. That's the lie they want to tell themselves because they want to believe it. Who cares if it's not true? Who cares if it's utter delusion? Who cares if it's stupid? We're going for it anyway. And that's the reason why the party for them will be over sooner rather than later. It doesn't end well for them at all. However, you might disagree. Therefore, I've posted the link to the Zoom there at the top of the chat room. So you are more than welcome to join us if you've been instructed by my mods to. That is not a request. That is an order. But you're more than welcome to go ahead and join us on Zoom if you want to there. I want to thank everyone who has contributed to support tonight's program on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo, Red, White, and FBA. B1, there's the only code. Thank you very much for your support in the Super Chat there. Wilson's 4, thank you for signing up, folks, for membership. Logic Before Emotion has been giving out some memberships too. That is the gift that keeps on giving. Certainly appreciate that. Cyberdyne 100 and everybody else, thank you very much for your support. We're going to take a very brief commercial, non-commercial break. When we come back, we'll be talking to you and more. This is the Black Channel.
Is your child struggling in school? Wish there was a way to get them the extra help they need? Mr. B, the teacher, is available for online tutoring on both tutor.com and varsitytutors.com platforms. He can help your child in a variety of subjects and is passionate about making learning fun and effective. And for even more learning tips, check out his book, Guidelines for the Successful Student, now available on Amazon.com. For more information or to reach him directly, go to MrBTheTeacher.com today.
The Honey Badger and the Mongoose is a children's story for the family of how a honey badger and mongoose fight an evil alliance of venomous cobra snake and hyenas that overhauls the balance of the savannah. The Big Five. The honey badger demands reparations. Will the Big Five give reparations? Can the evil alliance be stopped? You can find this book at Amazon, Audible, and Kindle.
Order yours today to experience all the benefits of Ash Kickin' Body Butter. With skin so smooth and soft, you'll thank us for it. Shop Ash Kickin' online. That's ASHKICKIN.com.
Hi, this is Brenda Starr, creator of Poetry with a Purpose and author of the book Pressed But Not Crushed. Pressed But Not Crushed is an anthology of political poems that address current and historical issues in American descendants of slave population and African American population. The book describes slaveries and its residuals, Jim Crow segregation, social depredation, and other relevant issues to American descendants of slaves and African Americans, including the current political climate that does not address our issues.
This is the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. Very glad to be with you all here this evening. And the link for Zoom to go ahead and give us a call up is open for you. For those of you who've been instructed to call in, that is not a request. So definitely you are welcome to go ahead and join us here. Yes, sir. Some folks are overreaching and overestimating the results of things, and it's their time to learn their lesson. Don't worry, it's coming up for them as well. Let me go ahead and jump over here on Zoom. Let me see if I can get Marianne up here on Zoom for me. All right, Marianne, I just need you to go ahead and make sure you turn your camera and your microphone on for me. Nobody else is going to see you except for me. So no one else will see you except me. But just to make sure we don't have any trolling issues, just need to make sure we have our camera and microphone on for us. Okay, Marianne has dropped off. By the way, folks, please keep in mind here, if you call up on Zoom, only thing we ask is make sure you have your camera and your microphone turned on. No one else is going to see you except for me. But it's just to make sure we don't have any trolling issues for the obvious reasons. Let's go ahead and get Valerie up here on Zoom. We'll go ahead and get Valerie up here on Zoom for me. Go ahead and turn everything on for me here, Valerie. She's working on getting her Zimbabwe broadband going. So I think they got that Ethiopia fiber. They got their Ethiopia fiber going there. So, Valerie, I'll give you 5 seconds to go ahead and get that going, or else I got to move on here. Some of these folks might have wanted to go off here and see if they can get their hair did before they turn the camera on for me. Not really all that necessary. I have folks out here wearing bonnets and boots. So believe me, we got the hostess with the mostest. So Valerie, go ahead and take care of that for me, or we got to move on. There you go, Valerie. All right, Valerie, what's on your mind?
Nothing. I was just listening to you. You said join you up on Zoom, and I was wondering, what do we do on Zoom?
Auntie, chill. All right. Juice Justice. Juicy Justice. Let me go ahead and get you up here on Zoom. All right, Juicy Justice, what's on your mind? You got yourself muted, sir. You still have yourself muted, sir. This newfangled technology has him confounded.
Okay, hold on. Okay, we got it. We're good.
All right, brother. Make sure you turn your speakers off. I hear myself.
Okay,
People,
brother. I think I got you now. I think I got you now.
All right, what's on your mind?
Not too much.
Okay,
Just wanted to say.
Sir, you still have me playing in the background. I'll give you a couple seconds to turn your YouTube volume off, dude. Folks, come on. It's 2024.
Okay,
We're supposed to be better than Roland Martin and them at least.
Nah, I'm not that dude. All right, we got you now. I actually just wanted to pick your brain. Oh, sorry. Good night to the family. Be one to everybody. I just want to say what's up. I just got a question for you, man. Just wanted to pick your brain real quick because I see a lot of things going on as far as our people dying unarmed. I mean, all over the globe. But there's this phenomena with them trying to blame us for it, right? Even with this Daniel Perry situation, it seems like, they'll initiate the contact with our people and then blame us for it. I'm wondering if there's like a name for that phenomena. I know there's a history of that, but I'm wondering if we have any type of designation for that.
Yes, it's called white supremacy.
No, I get that. I get that.
But white supremacy has always blamed the victim. They've always said that we have a right to do it to you, or it's your fault we did it to you, or they make up a lie why they did it to you. But the bottom line is dominance is about lying. Dominance is about control. Dominance is about fabricating things that didn't occur. Dominance is about exaggerating things that did occur. Dominance is about having its way. So that whatever the narrative is around it really becomes irrelevant. The real thing is, what is the result? What is the outcome? The outcome is always the same. We are allowed to steal, kill, destroy, pillage with impunity. That with impunity, the reason why we keep bringing those two words up now for decades is because that's the linchpin. That it doesn't matter whether what they do is right or wrong, as long as there are no consequences. That is white supremacy. Consequences for thee and not for me. With you sitting up here furiously waving their books of law and the consequences of that in their faces, and with them sitting there smiling saying, yeah, we're white, that law doesn't apply to us.
I'm white and I say so type. All right, got you. All right, brother. I so appreciate it. I just want to say again, shout out to the family, and I appreciate your time, and I really appreciate the work that you and others like you do. Shout out to the Black media and respect.
Thank you very much for giving us a call tonight. Folks, I'm going to try to do this right here. Hello, Valerie.
Hello.
Valerie.
Hello.
Didn't you say that you don't know why you're on Zoom?
I guess, is it for the chokehold or just for being FBA? I'm really, because I didn't watch the whole thing.
Okay, well, Valerie, I mean, if you don't know why you're on Zoom, ma'am, have you been drinking? Is it just, I don't understand. Did you have a question? Did you have something to say?
Concerning what?
Okay, Valerie, take the evening off, baby. Just take the evening off. You know, I know you're home, you're lonely. You've been playing Al Green albums. Oh, she ain't got the call back yet. She ain't got the call back yet, y'all. Willie James ain't gave the call back yet. Willie James, y'all know them old niggas from the bingo hall. The old dude from the bingo hall ain't returned a phone call, and it's like she's up on Sunday, and it's just she. Oh, he said call in. I'm calling up. And he got a nice voice. Yes, ma'am, I understand, but was there something you wanted? Sit there and talk to me.
Auntie, chill.
Okay, it's all right. Let me go ahead and see. We get over here on Zoom. Let me see. Is this Dominique the Freak? Where's Dominique at? All right, Dominique, you got 5 seconds to turn your camera on, son. Okay, dude, you got 5 seconds or permanent vacation, whichever one you prefer. We ain't gonna dance with you, so those are the rules. There you go. There you go, Dominique, looking all light-skinned and smooth. He's looking silky smooth over there. What do you say? Shaved and everything.
Oh, wow.
There's a hairless young man if I ever saw one. All right, he's got a Flash t-shirt on. What in the hell?
What? You know what it is.
It's look, dude, is your favorite comic book?
You know what it is.
I told you, favorite comic book. Steve Becky, I met you at the Comic-Con. All right, Dominique, what's on your mind?
It was a gift. All right, so first, what did you think of Kendrick Lamar's new album? Did you like it?
I think of it almost as much as Becky thought of it. So
second,
this new album out.
Your chat is really funny. Like, I went back and looked at. They're hilarious, bro. They're so messed up. I admit they are pretty brutal, but.
You know, he's got like 4 computer monitors in that room, so it's just.
Yeah, I need it. So question. Oh yeah, tell everybody I'm black. Some people don't know that, and I'm sorry. I am sorry, but I am black, people. Yes. And all right, so my question is are you a Republican, and why? Like, you come across as like a closet
Short answer: no, I'm not a Republican nor a Democrat. I don't have any political party or affiliation whatsoever.
So what political party would you say that you most identify with, or that you would
none?
None. Okay. So you're talking about the Republican Party.
Did you see how quickly and reflexively those responses came, Dominique?
Yeah, I'm going on.
Did you see that was unequivocal? There wasn't no splaining, there wasn't no long drawn out nothing. It was just a yes or a no, and it was always no. What does that tell you? Before you go any further with your little questionnaire, what does that tell you that the answers came like that so certainly and so unequivocally like that? What does that tell you?
It means that I make good questions.
Okay.
And it's the way, yeah. It's I don't frame them to make you look like a fool.
He's always wearing shorts and he's got his nair going, but go
Why
ahead,
are you making
Dominique.
fun of me? Why are you making fun of me? Okay, so all right, so I get it. So I heard you talking about the Republican Party and how, like using their aid to push for like reparations and stuff. And I don't think that is gonna work like at all, because I feel like if we're talking about white supremacy, yeah, it exists in both parties, but like, and the Democrats, they were like the party of like fucking segregation and slavery. Sorry for swearing, but that was who flies the Confederate flag now? Who flies the Confederate flag now? You don't see that. You don't really see it in Democratic places. You mostly see it in like the Republican kind of like arena of politics.
Okay, you're obviously not from the Southern United States, so speak on something you actually know about.
No, I mean,
the fact you said that sentence means you are obviously not from the Southern United States. So I'm trying to help you here. Speak on something that you know about.
Your heritage. I'm treading on your heritage.
You're treading on your ignorance, is what you're doing. The fact you said that is a bad commentary.
I can read a book, bro. We got books and like movies and stuff. Okay, I have an idea. I saw Rosewood. You
don't need a book. You need to actually get out the house and go somewhere so you can see it for yourself.
Dude, I've traveled. So like the Republican Party is about 85% white, right? 7% Hispanic makes sense. 2% Asian. 1% black. 1% black. Democratic Party, 64% white. 17% black. 11% Hispanic. 4% Asian. Right? You look at like
what are their policies?
In the House of Representatives, the Republicans have two.
Okay, and the bottom line is 55. None of those numbers matter. 50, the only thing that matters is what are their policies.
I mean, if we're talking about reparations, like
I didn't ask that last time. What are the Democrats' policies?
It depends on what you're talking about. They have like. The Science and Chips Act was pretty cool. Like,
okay, when it comes to black people, what is the Democrat Party's policies?
That's I don't know what you want. What are black jobs?
Okay, now when it comes to the Republican, now that you just answered, which is nothing. When it comes to the Republicans, what is the Republican Party's policies for black people?
Eliminating Black history from schools.
Okay, so in other words, nothing. So you have two parties.
Yeah, I got it.
You have two parties that are offering nothing. Dominique,
that's not true.
Dominique, calm down, Dominique. Calm yourself down.
What?
Calm yourself down. You do not speak when the host is talking.
Okay,
calm yourself down. I know it's not easy, but calm yourself down. It's very effeminate. Neither party is offering us anything. Therefore, there is no reason.
I can answer that. I don't think that's true. I think the way that you like set that up.
Okay, what is it that we are asking for that either one of those parties is attempting to implement?
So are you talking about reparations?
Okay,
right?
Isn't that the goal of a political party, is to implement the agenda and the desires?
I'm asking you a question.
Stop talking, Dominique. Isn't that the point of political parties, is that they are supposed to be backing whatever the desires or agenda is of their constituency? So the agenda is supposed to come from us. If we say this is what we want, then the political leaders are supposed to say, okay, and I'm the guy who gets it for you. So name for me one thing that we have said that we want that either the Democrats or the Republicans are actually moving to implement.
So I have to ask a question about like what do you mean? We got integration.
No, sir. With something that we've been talking about in the last 10 years, not 50 years ago. And we didn't ask for integration. But in the last 10, 15 years, name one thing that we've been advocating for that they're offering.
I think there are like other problems in play that.
Okay, now do you realize that when you asked me a direct question about what political party I'm associated with or affiliated with, I gave you a direct answer. You've been asked a direct question and you don't have any answers.
There's only a few political parties. You're asking these like loaded questions.
No, you're the one who asked about Democrats and Republicans.
I think that
Dominique,
obviously
you asked about
Dominique. Right?
You asked about Democrats and Republicans. Therefore, we're going to relegate it to them.
About. I don't know what policies you say these we shits. Like, what policy are you talking about? I asked if it was reparations. You didn't say anything. You just
okay. So what you're saying is that you don't know. You do not know what black people have been advocating for in the last 15 years.
But you are apparently the black authority, so I'm asking you.
And I'm asking you which one of those.
State one of those
which
things.
of the things
that maybe
that you've
I could
seen.
recall some policy.
Okay,
or look it up.
which of the things that
which
of the things you've seen us advocating for are the Democrats or the Republicans attempting to execute? Name one.
I mean, like, okay. So in Black Lives Matter, right, before it became this like commercial thing, right, before it became this thing that like people look at and they like mangle it, what it's really about is George Floyd getting killed and how it was apparent and obviously wrong, right? The Democrats were the ones that were like, okay, pushing for this, right? They're like, okay, it's kind of fucked up. Whereas Republicans were like, oh, he should have complied. He should have the cop ain't do nothing wrong.
You are not naming a single thing that the party has done.
I'm giving you a situation, and then you can't name one. I'm saying that,
okay, so Dominique, basically, they bring up Republicans and Democrats, Dominique, calm yourself down, son. Calm yourself down. You were given an opportunity to substantiate Democrats and Republicans and what the justification for even asking that question would be. I already debunked it by
I asked you because I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay, Dominique,
I kind of don't know.
This is the last time that you'll be told.
You literally can't articulate.
You don't speak when the host is talking.
If you would say something.
I'm not Becky's dad when you sit there and whine at him. I'm not him.
If you would actually say something.
Okay, that's the last time that you'll be told. I bet you'll get that one. You are the one who introduced a ridiculous, frivolous comparison between Democrats and Republicans. I debunked it right out of the gate and dismissed it out of the gate because they don't matter. Political parties are symbolic. Black people didn't make them. We don't control them. These are things that apply to white society, not to us. Demographics within the political parties are equally irrelevant because, once again, I reiterate, we didn't create the Democrats or the Republicans. We don't control the Democrats or Republicans. So whether our population in a political party is 1% or 51%, it doesn't matter if we don't control that party. That's the reason why I'm not a member of them, and I'm not associated with them, and I'm not affiliated with them. And if I ask you to tell me what they've done for us, you can't name it. And that's the reason why it's stupid to do so. I ask you
what they've done for us in reference to what? Like, okay, dude, I don't think that
Dominique, you babble.
Let me talk.
Dominique, you babble. You do a lot of babble.
You're literally a professional babbler. You can't even articulate your own question.
Dominique, you do a lot of whining and babbling. It's not
literally,
it's not a way to teach anything.
For an hour last time.
It's not a way to teach anything. You just babble.
You literally whined for an hour. No, I'm not. If you would just like let me.
Here's my issue, Dominique. My issue is that there's a lot of folk out there who are lonely. I need to hook you up with Valerie, who just got off the phone. You two can sit there and babble at each other over martinis or something. Well, one of y'all can afford martinis.
You're a Republican. You're just like you come across as a closet Republican. That's kind of what I was like asking. You say you don't do these things, but then you give these speeches about why we should look for the Republican Party to like save us.
I did not say any such delusional crackhead lies. So what I'm saying is you and Becky need to stop doing the meth.
Are you sure?
You're starting to babble.
Literally heard it all.
You're doing what Becky does with the meth. It's not a good look. It's that you need to put that stuff down. Get a new dealer. Whoever the plug is down there in Mexico got y'all tweaking on that. That's y'all gotta get that straightened out. It's not a good look. Something's happened to Dominique's microphone, which is probably Providence when you think about it. That's probably Providence, but what you need to do is you need to go back. I didn't say that I'm looking for Republicans to do anything. I said the same thing I have always said, that if they were smart, here's a winning move that they would pull if they were smart. Although I don't think that they're smart enough to do it. But by the way, if they want to transform a temporary political win in 24 into a permanent political revolution, well, what you would do is actually comply with a black agenda and come offer something. I also said, but they're not smart enough to do that. So instead of pretending that we're with them, which we clearly are not, how about do something and we would actually be with you? But I don't expect that to occur either.
But why would you want the Republicans to maintain power and win another election?
Because political parties are labels. I don't give a damn who the political.
But they matter.
Dominique,
they matter.
Dominique, you are freckled. Calm yourself down.
There were MAGA kids.
Dominique,
marching with MAGA flags.
Do you understand that this is not a request? You said something, and I'm going to host my program. I do not care who the political party is, so long as that political party does my bidding. I don't care if it's Democrat, Republican, or otherwise. You just said, okay, I answered your question. You just said, why would I say that to Republicans? Because why would I expect them Republicans? I'm not expecting it, but I'm saying I don't care who the party is. If Republicans came offering us something, I would back them, period.
But they're clearly not. So there were these grade school kids marching in their school with their Make America Great flags again, leaving racist like graffiti all over the school. Stuff like this has been happening for like the past few weeks, since Trump got like elected. It's been a thing. There has been an uptick in this like right-driven racial,
and there's no difference. I don't consider right-wing racism to be better than left-wing racism.
Because you're from Louisiana and you're supporting your people, your family. But I'm saying
I don't consider left-wing racism to be a better flavor of it.
But they're not. But that's the thing. When the Democrats won, they weren't going around schools leaving racial like slurs written in bathroom stalls.
No, what they did was they let people like Daniel Pentalio and Darren Wilson off the hook. That's what they did.
Things are gonna happen. I'm talking about like a widespread phenomenon.
That is a widespread social phenomenon. When you recruit the court system to defend white supremacists murdering people, that's a widespread phenomenon, kid.
It happens, but I'm talking about we weren't having fucking like parades in schools. You're not having like the people in Ohio with their swastikas and crap marching. Like, yeah, they've been doing it, but they've been emboldened, and it's not an opinion.
Okay, and they've been emboldened by Democrats too. So this is not a Republican phenomenon.
No, but it's clearly tilted to like more to one direction.
Okay, Dominique,
you don't see people
it's not the Republicans do not
it's
have a monopoly on it, which is the problem we've had. So what you're saying is not true.
They kind of do.
No,
because literally,
they don't.
Yes, the far right doesn't just exist in America; it exists in Europe too.
Okay, there is no.
It exists in Europe too.
If there's a far right, what is
it? They do the same thing. Brown people, immigrants out. Zeke Heil, Europe for Europeans, right? We need IDs. We need to get these weird brown people out. It's a movement that exists in like all Western countries. It's not specifically American.
Dominique, back over here in America, there is no appreciable distinction or difference between the two parties. They both practice white supremacy in different ways, and I don't make a distinction between strawberry flavored white supremacy and vanilla flavored. I don't make a distinction.
I mean, you can pose that if you want, but it doesn't change the fact that they are different and they do behave differently.
There's only a difference in their superficial texture. The result is the same. There's no difference in the result.
I don't think the result.
What you're saying is that you accept polite white supremacy, and I say,
no,
I don't accept it polite or impolite.
I'm saying that the Democratic Party offers opportunities for like employment, right? And like an opportunity to be represented and represent your people, whereas the Republicans
offer opportunities for quote employment. Take a look at Byron Donalds. Take a look at all the black bootlick Republicans. Take a look at Candace Owens. The Republicans offer quote employment, but just like the Democrats, the one thing they don't offer is empowerment. Now that's what nobody is offering. So they are no different.
I think a lot of people were empowered by seeing Barack Obama. Obama in fucking office, right? And I feel
Name for me 3 black people who were empowered because quote Obama was in office.
What a stupid question. That's what I mean. You
just said it. You just said I thought plenty of people were empowered by Barack Obama getting in office. I said name 3 of them. Name 3 then. Name 3.
I was. I mean, they were like
you were empowered. You were empowered how?
Because I thought that I was going to go my whole life without seeing a black dude in the office, and I saw one.
And how did that help you personally?
Oh, it makes me like believe that things are possible. Like if I had a daughter, right?
No, give me something we can measure. No. Give me something we can measure. I can't measure belief. Give me something tangible we can tell me something tangible that we can measure that you gained when Barack Obama was elected president. Go.
When he became president, I mean, to be fair, it would be weird if he like.
Do you all notice he's not just going ahead and naming what it is? Name what it is.
Because you ask stupid questions, and
you said that there were plenty. You were empowered simply because he got elected. Tell me the tangible.
I told you.
I said tangible. Name the tangible way that
more money. Like
how did you make more money simply because Barack Obama got elected president?
I mean, the economy was better than it had been. He'd introduced policies that made it like safer to invest for me.
What policy did Barack Obama make that made it safer to invest? For just you. For just you.
The economy was great and Trump ruined it.
What did Barack Obama how did Barack Obama make investing quote safer for just you?
For not just me. I'm not saying that. See, okay. It was for like for everyone. There were like more options available. The S&P 500 was positive for years.
And tell me what he did to make that happen.
He introduced policies.
Which one? Name it. Name the policy.
I don't know it off the top of my head.
Get off my phone!
You're framing this so that
Dominique, go get that white girl back over there to finish them booty dreads you got on your head and get off my phone.
Bro, you are the one. You are the one, bro. What are you doing? Like, you ask questions that like why would I have this?
Dominique, name Barack Obama's policy that empowered you. Name the policy.
You ask ridiculous questions to not look like an idiot.
You're the one who said that he did something. I'm simply asking, name what it was. Name the policy.
He led the predecessor to the Chips and Science Act that was pushed by Biden, who expanded on it. That brought
Get off my phone!
No, I'm going. What's up?
The predecessor to it. What's the name of the predecessor to it?
Bro, it's been a while. He hasn't been president in 2 terms. Like, why are we on this?
You just said he did it. I'm saying prove it. I'm saying you're lying. What's the name of it? You're lying. What's the name of it?
I'm not.
What's the name of it? What's the name of it? What's the name of it?
I don't know, dude. I don't know. But I'm not lying. You can
get off my phone. This is your brain on drugs. Hey, dude, Barack Obama putting policies in place, dude. He was doing big things, dude. He empowered me, dude. How so? I felt better, dude. Were you sober? I didn't have to get sober. Stock market was up, dude. Not more than Trump. It was up. Big up. It was a big wave, dude. It was gnarly. Had my surfboard. That's when I met Becky back then, dude. Okay, but what did Obama do for you? I can't quite remember. I don't remember what it was, dude, but it was gnarly. Okay, how can you give him credit if you don't remember what it was? Cowabunga! You ask dumb questions, dude. Just go with the flow, man. What kind of weed they giving out there in California? Go with the flow, dude. That's what happens when you have some young, light-skinned male feminist. He got them white girls around him and whatnot, that in his anime collection. He's sitting there with his comic book collection, and old girl comes over and whatnot. She be breaking up with him to make up with him and stuff because Chad ain't calling back. And hey, we should get this life together. You know, he'd be really great if you got you to do that. We should get his life together. Obama was great, dude. I was doing really great under him, you know? What did he actually do? I don't remember, but he was great, man. I was empowered. We know how you were empowered. There were white girls as far as the eye could see. What? Obama got elected, and all the white girls in my class were like, I've always liked you, Jamal. My name's Dominique. Dominique. Right, Dominique, yeah. We always liked you. Now, you all know what the real deal is because he's young. The first time, well, in his case, it's probably going to be the third or fourth time. Third or fourth time that white girl calls him a nigga, then he's going to be wilding out. About the third or fourth time she calls him a nigga, then he's going to wild out. Next thing you know, he's going to be dissing Democrats and everything else when that happens. Right now, it's all sweet right now, but as soon as she called him a nigga a few times, hey, Becky, I think you kind of meant that right there. Well, Dominique, I didn't really mean it like that. Yeah, but, Becky, it's been like the third or fourth time you called me that, I got my Superman shirt on and things, and, you and me were at the Comic-Con, and, we got pictures on TikTok. I don't know why you have to call me, call me a nigger. Well, that's because sometimes you act like one. What? He gonna get a what when that happens. When she says that, his world's gonna crumble. He's gonna crumble into a pile of sand when she says that. Why you have to call me a nigger? She's just gonna explode. And I didn't mean it like that. Yeah, but you call me a nigger. Okay, I didn't mean it like that. But you still call me a nigger. I just understand what you mean. Because sometimes you act like one. You're just gonna hear that glass breaking sound. That's his heart shattering. He's going to start playing Linda Ronstadt songs in his head. Damn! He's going to start playing Olivia Newton-John songs. He's going to put that on his playlist. Katy Perry. It's going to be a sad day at the Dominique household. He's going to be doom scrolling through Instagram and Twitter. He's going to be looking for pages that hate white girls, It's going to be tough on him. He's going to have to cut off all them braids, get an afro. Oh, it's going to be a rough time for him. It's going to be hella rough. Oh, y'all don't even want to know what it's going to be like for Dominique. It's going to be hella rough. All right, let me go ahead and see if I can get Huey Freeman up here on Zoom. Huey, what's on your mind, brother?
Not much, brother Black. How you doing, man? Man, good program. I just want to ask you a quick question. With the whole Donald Trump soon to become president and stuff, what do you think in the near future is going to be the course of Black folks in regarding us basically just staying on code and just basically making sure that we only keep for our own group, we only vouch for our own people, and basically get us more like solidified in society?
Well, that's what we're doing right now. These things are not a sprint,
Correct.
They're a marathon. This is why we're convening like we are, to make sure everybody is straight. We ain't Republicans, we ain't MAGA, we
Correct.
ain't right wing.
Correct.
We're
Correct.
just understanding how power is used. Let me explain to you all how power is strategically used here. When the white supremacists go into a nation, what do? I can show you example after example. When they go into a nation to destabilize folk, what do? They find the two groups that are fighting, and then they back both of them. What?
Yep.
They go in and back both of them. That's destabilization. If you actually pick one side and they wipe out the other one, then you don't have any leavening influence. And the only way that now that you've chosen who the victor will be, the only way you can keep him in line is if you send your people in and spend your resources. But you see, if you arm both sides and you use one to subjugate the other but not annihilate the other, then anytime you need to unbalance this situation again, all you got to do is you're giving resources to both sides. You gave more to one side than the other, and when it gets difficult, you just temperature control. Oh, drop the resources on one side, raise the resources back on that other side. Case in point, people, we are still doing business with Russia right now. What? America doing business with Russia right now. Okay, got sanctions out the ass on Russia and doing business with them right now. You got American companies doing business in Russia right this second. They got sanctions on them. And meanwhile, doing business in Ukraine. Ain't that right, Joe Biden, getting them payoffs? Well, I'll be damned. I just proved to you they doing business. They backing both teams. What they want to do is control the board. They're not trying to annihilate Russia nor Ukraine. They're trying to control Russia and Ukraine. That's the sweet spot. Iraq and Iran. Some of you are younger. I am old enough to remember. Okay, we have Mohammed Mossadegh in Iran. Mohammed Mossadegh, smart man. The Brits came over there running the damn oil trade. They came over the Aryan Oil Company. They're running things. And Mohammed Mossadegh, duly elected leader. And he said, we're not going to have the Brits over here stealing our oil anymore. They're building these big ass petroleum plants and they giving us $1 a barrel, 50 cents a barrel. They going off with $40, $50 a barrel and giving us 50 cents. We ain't having it. So I'm going to nationalize the oil plants, the oil refineries, the oil equipment. We're nationalizing them. They belong to the nation of Iran now. He went to the UN and laid out his case for why he was doing it. He didn't just jump up and go do that. He went to the UN and laid out his case with the facts and the figures and the numbers and said, this is what they've been doing to us for decades. So we are nationalizing this on account of the fact they owe us. Next thing you know, they had him killed, and here comes the Shah of Iran. The royal family that nobody voted for, and they put them back up in there. That's how you ultimately end up with Ayatollah Khomeini rising to power. The people backed Khomeini. Ain't that right, Jimmy Carter? And the reason I'm bringing that up is because that's what leads to the Iran-Iraq war. When things went south in Iran and you couldn't overturn it and the folk wasn't rocking with the Shah, they ran his ass out the country, then they backed Ayatollah Khomeini. Khomeini ain't going nowhere. This what it's gonna be. Oh, Iran's a terrorist state. Next thing you know, America is backing Saddam Hussein in Iraq, and they backed a 10-year-long war between those two countries. For those of you who are, because I got a bunch of folk here, you're not the Roland Martin audience, so some of y'all are not old enough to remember this, but I do. Even as a child, I remember reading about this and seeing it on the news. A 10-year war between Iraq and Iran that the United States was responsible for backing both sides. In their various ways, propping up and supporting both sides. It was never about annihilating one. And it was the worst thing in the world happened between Iran and Iraq. They declared peace. After 10 years, their two little puppet governments, all of a sudden the worst thing in the world happened. They declared peace. And it was right after that Saddam Hussein goes into Kuwait. Now here we're going to go prop up the Saudis. Now, what the hell? Ain't that amazing? This kind of just goes cyclically. But did they attempt to eradicate Saddam Hussein's government? No! In 1991, they beat him back to Baghdad, and they stopped. It was not about changing the status quo. It was about balancing it. Mm-hmm. So I need you all to understand that that's the way that they have leveraged power for centuries.
Yep.
Now I am sitting in America and I am looking at two powers here that we have a limited amount but a definitive amount of influence over. The Democratic Army on one side, the Republican Army on the other. Jason Black, which one do you support? Neither.
Nope.
Which one do I give my allegiance to? Neither. Neither one. If there's something I agree with somebody on, I might support that issue. Another one I might support this issue. I'm not supporting either one. I'm not trying to annihilate either one either.
Yep.
Which one do you back? Whichever one is backing me. Whichever one is in my interest to support. That's the one. But I'm not going to get rid of the other one because then this other guy over here has a monopoly and the next thing you know, he thinks he can show me his ass because he's the only option. we have to demonstrate to him that we are willing to let him fall on his face, that we're willing to bring him down, that we really will pull the trigger. We'll really do this. Now he realizes, oh, y'all for real. Yeah, that's called an attitude adjustment, nigga.
Yep.
Now he takes you seriously, just like Saddam Hussein, just like the Shah of Iran. Now they take you seriously. Since you showed them, oh, I'm going to put action behind these words. I'm not bluffing. Well, Trump will be in charge, so be it.
So, let him.
Who do you think you're threatening with that? I told you to do what I said. You didn't do that? You know what? Maybe we need to let Trump run for 4 years, because it seems you're a lot more worried about that than I am. Since you Democrats are way more worried about that than I am, let me show you. Oh, I'm going to be straight. Either which way it goes, you won't. Over there in the Justice Department right now, do you all know that there are numerous Justice Department officials right now who are hiring lawyers? They are afraid that Donald Trump's going to come after them. Mm-hmm. All throughout the Justice Department, they're scared it's payback time. Letitia James up there in New York, scared to death, shaking like a leaf right now. She knows she ground zero. Fannie the Mammy Willis, she trying to get in with her side dude as much as she can, because she know Trump gonna come around the corner at some point. You know it's coming.
Yeah, don't forget Alvin Bragg.
He done got the white girl Pam Bondi down there in Florida. We know what the white supremacist she is, ain't that right, OJ? But he's about to let her do whatever the hell she want to do. They got Matt Gaetz out the way. They was like, yeah, we shutting it down. Then Pam Bondi, I'll be damned, can't stop this one. She's platinum plated. You can't do a damn thing about that one. So you actually have a worse activity now, because she's competent. I didn't say she's moral. Pam Bondi is actually competent. Matt Gaetz is a jackalope. Pam Bondi is actually competent. She knows what to do. She was Attorney General of Florida. She knows what to do. And she knows how to target you. I thought he was going to pick Chris Kobach, but I guess he's had a bit of a falling out with Chris or something, or maybe Chris just hadn't been close enough to him. So I knew it was going to be someone like Bondi. I thought it was going to be Kobach. I thought it was going to be him. But okay, I'm like, it's not like it got better. So hell yeah, there you sit. So Jason went, y'all help the Republicans. Well, I helped them by not stopping them. Okay, if you want to call it that. Well, this is what you do in war. Okay, we helped y'all for a little bit. Let me let them ride for a little bit here, and you balance both sides. I'm not gonna let y'all overrun them. No. On the kind of fact you're not doing what I told you to. So let me let them go ahead and ride this for a minute. That's how you do that. That's what these folk do. They've been doing it forever. This is why every place in the damn world you take a look at is a damn war zone. Why? Because there's two factions. You notice over the decades, the two factions never go away. Leadership comes and leadership goes, but the factions remain there, and they keep fighting each other. That's not accidental. That's engineered. Now they mad because we figured out how to do it too? No, y'all sit there and go slug this out and whatnot, and then whichever one of y'all is standing at the end of this, we'll be back to say, by the way, you ready to make a deal now? Huh? No? Okay, well, we're going to leave you alone for a minute here. Let them Democrats get back up in here and start whooping your ass some more. You ready? We'll check back with you in 4 years, see if your attitude's sweetened up a little bit. All right, Democrats, you can go ahead and have that right quick. Not because we love you, but you can have that right quick. Okay, all right, they're kicking his ass for 4 more years. Check back with him in 4 years. Hey, J.D. Vance, you ready to take back that thing about the black farmers yet? You ready to straighten up and fly right? You think you want to think that over for a minute? You sure? The situation ain't changed? You sure? Oh, okay, let me give you another 4 years in the wilderness. Let me do that. It's not by accident. So if you want to know what the psychology is, that's the psychology. I'm not making this up on the fly. I've been saying this for years. Y'all want to know what it is? That's what it is.
Great, your brother. All right, man. I'm not going to keep you up too late, man. Thank you. You do the work for the people, man, and I appreciate it, man. We're always going to support you, Tariq, Professor Black Truth, and the New Black Media. Thanks for everything, brother.
Thank you very much for giving us a call. Yeah, brothers and sisters, like I say, what you demonstrating to them, you don't tell them, you show them. They ain't worried about nothing. You worry about Trump. I'm not. Trump gonna get in the White House, and Trump gonna do bad things. Every president does bad things. They gonna do bad things to black folk. That's exactly the reason why we mad as hell. They all do that. The Democrat alternative is no better. We're going to demonstrate to you that we're done with the status quo. We'll let both of you crash and burn. You won't really do that. Watch me. And we'll check back on you in 4 years. And we'll see if your attitude is sweetened up a bit. But that's not going to happen if I don't let you dangle for 4 years. See, understand something, people. There's a certain amount of punishment that you have to give somebody. Let me explain to you the psychology behind that. My man, Mr. B, might not agree with this quite well, but it holds true. When you have to discipline someone with punishment, you have to balance it. There has to be a certain amount of time that you punish them. So you see, if you don't punish them long enough, if you just smack them and walk off, well, now you've left them embittered. Now you've left them angry and agitated. But if you sit there and wail and beat on their ass until they're unconscious, well, now you put them into a coma. That might not be what you necessarily want either. So you can't do too little, otherwise you've agitated them and made them bitter. You can't do too much, otherwise you've destroyed them, so you have to balance that. In other words, you have to leave them in that state for a period of time. You can't just smack them real quick and run off. This isn't something you get to do quickly and leave. You've got to let them know that this is the new normal. I'm not joking. I'm not playing. I've got the ability to destroy you, but that's not what I'm trying to do unless it comes down to it. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave you in this state long enough so that you understand you can't do anything to overturn this except make a new deal. But you ain't going to be in here for a couple of hours and then you back on the street like some juvenile delinquent getting out of detention, and then the next day you're back into trouble again. No. Let me show you that you're not going to be on punishment for an hour or a day. We're going to leave you here for a few months. And when we check back on you, the only thing you're going to want to do is leave out of here. You're going to be like, hey, whatever I got to do, you're going to like Morgan Freeman in front of the parole board and Shawshank Redemption. Yes, sir, I'm a changed man. I'm totally reformed, refined, and ready to do things different here. We're going to leave you in the wilderness until that's the response you come back with. We need to see some damn contrition. And when or if you return back with the response we're looking for, I see the error of my ways, and, I'm going to straighten up for you here. We're going to do right now. And it's, baby, I've been taking you for granted, but I'm going to do right now. Okay, that sounds better. That sounds better. And you only do that when you show them that you are willing to tolerate a period of discomfort, because you know it's going to bother them much more than you. They think they're going to call your bluff. Well, you're going to make me feel better because things will get uncomfortable around here. You know what? Let me show you what uncomfortable feels like. Let me show you what uncomfortable is. That's how you get people's damned attention. You get their attention like that when you show them, oh, I really will pull this lever. What about the consequences? I'm about to show you consequences. You don't know what will happen. I know exactly what will happen. And now you got 4 years to deal with this maniac. Y'all gonna be trying to dodge this damn maniac in the White House for 4 damn years. 4 years. You want to talk to somebody about it, you can talk to us. But just understand, we got out the way and let him run wild on you. We've done it in 2024. Do you think that was a fluke? We have no problem watching it happen all over again in 2028. Y'all just sit there and keep People, can you imagine what Trump gonna be like after he gets sworn in? Can you imagine what he'll be like when he gets back to the Oval Office and he's sitting in that seat? Can you imagine what he gonna be like when it's no longer Attorney General nominee Pam Bondi? It is Attorney General Pam Bondi. White House Chief of Staff Stephen Miller. And whoever he does get to be the Secretary of State, Rubio, Marco Rubio. Can you imagine when he puts together the Injustice League? Damn! Not the Justice League, but the Injustice League. Can you imagine what he gonna be on when he's sitting there with all of them? Sitting around the damn table or the desk in the Oval Office like the Legion of Doom from Super Friends. I'm talking about with Elon Musk coming through that damn place with his baseball cap on and his tennis shoes. Can you imagine some of the ideas that bastard gonna come up with? Oh, Vivek Ramaswamy has been a meme up until this point. Oh, Vivek Ramaswamy. Oh, I hope Vivek doesn't do a damn Monica Lewinsky with Trump up in there. Damn. Oh, it's going to be awful because, you know, whatever Trump asks for, Vivek going to do it. Vivek's going to be like, Mr. Trump, I will be happy to polish your butt cheeks with my lips. And, oh, goodness gracious. Don't leave Vivek up in there too damn long. He'll do anything. He'll do anything. You thought Epstein Island was over. Vivek will do anything. Can you imagine some of the devilment them bastards is dreaming up right now while we're sitting here? Can you imagine some of the stuff they're coming up with? Oh, demonic is not the right word. It's going to look like Animal House up in there. Rudy Giuliani going to be back on the scene. Steve Bannon gonna be back in effect. They gonna be sitting on top of the White House with binoculars. Yeah, we're gonna get them bastards right over there. Can you imagine that? They'll be on top of the White House with binoculars looking at it. We're gonna get them and them and them and them and them. Facial recognition technology, satellite tracking technology. Your IRS records will be in their hands. They'll be in control of who is on the no-fly list and the terrorist watch list. They'll be in charge of Homeland Security, so they'll be going back over your damn telephone records. Old Nancy Pelosi is out there in California scared to death of what's gonna happen when Trump nominates his own SEC commissioner.
Auntie, chill.
All that insider trading that Nancy Pelosi has been doing. All that insider trading that Nancy Pelosi and her husband have been doing that we all know they've been doing. All that insider trading. You know this, she's eligible to be a target now, right? Y'all, don't you understand how many levels this go down? Why do you think that Jeff Bezos is trying to cut a deal? CNN is trying to cut a deal. Joe Scarborough is trying to cut a deal. They like, this ain't no damn joke. He's going to be in charge of a whole bunch of things, man. Whatever you done did, this man's going to have access to it, whatever it is. He going to find it. Do you all understand how far this goes? Fannie Willis had to have a whistleblower talk about her relationship with this married man. Can you imagine what will happen when Trump is in charge of the Department of Homeland Security and has access to everything? He won't have to rely on whistleblowers anymore. Imagine what happens when he's got control of the levers and got access to everything. All the telecoms, all your communications, all the emails. He'll have access to everything. All the white supremacist IT nerds in the Department of Homeland Security, in the Department of Justice, and the FBI, all the white supremacist IT nerds in Silicon Valley who are now going to be able to rise up through the sand and say, by the way, we found this. Dropping anonymous notes, anonymous flash drives, anonymous emails. Hey, here's something you might want to see. Here's something you can check into. Here's a paper trail here. Can you imagine that? 4 straight years. You gonna have to run the gauntlet. 4 straight years. You gonna have to be dodging lawsuits and indictments. 4 straight years. And you think you're going to threaten me with a Trump administration? Really? I think you're the one worried about it. Now, if you didn't want him to be in office, you had your 4 years since 2020 to come over here and make a deal with us. Very first thing that Joe, the bigot Biden, did was tell us that, well, you know, black folk, what you really need to do is get with Latinos. Hey, Joe, how'd that work out for you? How'd that work out for you? And by the way, what goes around can come around. We can do this in 4 years. And by the way, hey, Trump, don't think that we got permanent allegiances. We don't have any allegiance here. You think that we were worried about what was going to happen to you? If you don't come out making a deal, by the way, just like we flipped it on you in 2020 and we flipped it on Biden in 2024, we can flip that flapjack one more time. We can flip it one more time. Sit there and delude yourself and tell yourself that we really love the white supremacists and we giving you a pass for racism. So, okay, tell yourself that lie if you want to. The Democrats are looking shocked as hell. You'll be looking even more crazy. And please remember, you need us. That damn judge up there in New York is talking about holding off on sentencing Trump for 4 years. What? We'll hold off on sentencing him for 4 years. We'll come back to see what the sentence will be in 4 years. Like, are you kidding me? What happened to a speedy trial? Yeah, we'll wait 4 years before we sentence you. All right, Trump, you got questions hanging on there too. Suggest you get some sense because it's only going to be a matter of time before one of y'all tries to take the other one out. It's just going to be a matter of time. We'll be sitting over here watching the rain fall on you. But by the way, it's only going to be a matter of time now. So I suggest you get yourselves a good seat. You're going to need it. And don't delude yourselves into thinking that you've won and everything's great and everything's fine. I assure you, we were giving you the business all throughout your first presidency. We haven't forgotten. And when you take office, the focus will turn to you. When you take office, the focus will turn to you. So if you think that we're just like it did the first time, whoever is the person in power is the one who gets the smoke. The Democrats got the smoke because they got in power. Okay, Trump, you back in power now. Guess who gets the smoke now? Just like you had the second chance at this, we can help it get taken away from you too. That can work. We're going to go ahead and wrap things up here tonight. I want to thank everyone who's contributed to Support Tonight's program here on PayPal, Super Chat, Venmo, my man, Mr. Rich Bird. Thank you very much for your support. Walter, everyone else here, thank you very much as well. And if you are new here to the Black Channel, welcome to the Haven of Intelligent Black Thought. We do this every weekend. Click that red subscribe button. Click that yellow notification bell. Join us each and every time that we're here. If you haven't been to our website, blackchannelfilms.com, go check out our groundbreaking, best-selling documentary work, 7 a.m., 8 a.m., Gentrified Race War, blackchannelfilms.com. That is blackchannelfilms.com. I want to thank all of you for tuning in to tonight's program, live or recorded. Thank you for liking, subscribing, and sharing. And this concludes tonight's broadcast of the Black Channel. I am your host, your brother, your humble servant, the Black Authority. And until next time, my brothers and my sisters from around the world, remember, black is the future, and the future is uncompromising.